There's instructions, keep your streets clean. And it is a fine of £75 for littering. Cigarettes and chewing gum are littered too, okay? No such thing as littering. There's no such thing people are aware of. They're aware of? Certainly the ones who smoke must be aware of. Welcome to Britain, and welcome to the normal and common sight here in England. The cheap labor does bring in a lot of cheap and aberrant and most ludicrously filthy environment for us all. And have a look at here. How is that for you? And if this was your country, what would you do? Would you ever consider anything to be somewhat normal? Or would you see this as a breakdown in the society, as the most menial way of living? Would you say this to be a normal human behavior? Or would you consider this to be a problem, a serious problem facing humanity? And I mean, how ludicrously depressing and disgusting is this? There is no such way to explain or express. Have a look at this, folks. What is this? What is all of this? How is it so blatantly and so arrogantly and so aggressively dumped? Just dumped with absolutely no respect or regard for anyone. If you're a human being, remind yourself that your humanity or the human consciousness has utterly been broken, utterly been dismantled, utterly been crippled for this kind of behavior to be tolerated as a normal behavior in society, in a community, in a family, in a nation, and ultimately on the planet. You tell me, folks, when people are drunk and consumed by this amount of alcohol and this amount of beer and absurd volumes of liquor and absurd volumes of rubbish and trash being chucked like this, I mean, there is nothing I can explain to you that a human is not capable of. This is beyond acceptance of my eyesight. It is an absurdity of human discussion on the planet Earth. And this is Great Britain. And this is the reality and what is on the surface of this nation. It's meant to be a great nation, a great Britain, it's called. You tell me what's so great about this absurdity of this kind of behavior from the people who walk, work, and live on this land. This is what they taught us across the empire. Talk to me, folks. Please tell me what's going wrong for humans is the way that they do not know how to be. What's going wrong is nothing to do with what you're drinking and what you're consuming. It's what you do after you've been consumed by intoxins, chemicals, and other, I don't know what. And if you can treat the nature that you sustain and support us, I don't know what and how I can explain to you about what we need to do to you for you to become conscious. London Borough of Ealing, a marker sharing us the information about our riverways and canals, yet our riverways and canals and our walkways have been absolutely inundated with rubbish that I do not know what and how we have ended up getting here. This is not flowers, folks. This is not flowers. This is beer cans, coffee cups, and takeaway polystyrenes. Coffee cups, takeaway polystyrenes, and rubbish, mountainous. It looks like a landfill. Absolutely looks like a landfill. How can anybody have the capacity to throw like this? An effort. Oh my goodness me. Look at this. The magnet fishing has pulled this one out. Gosh, folks. What is this? Jeez. The riverways. Phew. Radiators. Clothes. Rubbish. Phew. Really? Really? It's getting worse and worse and worse. The people living in that little, underneath that bridge. Look at this, folks. Not an inch is spared by the volumes of coffee cups, beer bottles, and trash. If this is continued in this way, I don't know what we are going to be left with on this planet. If this is seen as a normal behavior to you, I don't know what is abnormal behavior in a society like Great Britain. What is so great about this? I mean, have a look at this, folks. This is Great Britain, the Empire, the Commonwealth. The Commonwealth has been littered with what we produced to the consumer. We produce to the consumer without we teaching the consumer what to do with what we produce. We've created an absurd environment for our living children of the future. You will see this and find yourself a normal in society. Trust me, this is not a normal. circumstances of life. When I came to this earth, I was brought up not to, I came to learn that the world and the space that we live in is for us to take care of it. Because whatever we do, we are doing exactly the harm to ourselves. This is the most obscene of situations, and I've never seen anywhere like this, anywhere on earth. It's supposed to be Great Britain. What is so great about this? An absurdity seems to be as normal behavior for me. When you encourage humans to get drunk, to get consumed by the volumes of alcohol and all the chemical substance that they ingest, this to me is absolutely normal. This to me seems normal and totally normal behavior of people that we encourage to live in a society of an utter and most depriving of situations on the planet. When you're chemically messed up, you don't even know if you had the trousers on with your belt. Look at the stuff that they do. Burn the tree down. Why? All of this is unnecessary for a human being to fall into. Tell me, folks, who warrants anything like this to be in your neighborhood? Who actually grant and accept this as a normal behavioral conduct of the local community? Who can truly accept this to be normal? What's that kid going to look like? Is that kid going to see this as a normal sight of her daily walks with her mother, and to be this as also normal sight, and for one to actually go walking about and just simply dump and eventually end up like this. And for that little child to see her country looking like this, and growing up as a child, and their parents see and not acknowledge that this is not a behavior that any adult or any human being could ever accept as a normal. There is no such thing as normal, folks. What is normal is the environment that shapes you, the environment that will shape that innocent child in the way that she doesn't see any other way. But all of this, painful to know that child, so like all the other children who would walk past here, looking and walking past, seeing it as a normal conduct, as a badminton recreational center just over there. The children of our future is going to see this. Sorry folks, I haven't made any videos that are interesting for you, but I'm making videos that will shape the future of this planet and the next generation of children who grow up today. There's a bus stop, and there's a common sight here in Great Britain: rubbish. They think this is classified offence. Above and over the fence at a bus stop seems a sight of a bin. There is no... how am I going to explain to you about a Britain being this way? A great Britain. They went around the world teaching human beings how to conduct themselves. They taught their ideas. They pretty much made them British on the entire Commonwealth and the what do you call, so-called the British Commonwealth. The British Commonwealth. I haven't seen this in the Commonwealth nations. Maybe today there seems to practice this rule as the great mother of the empire is teaching human beings to see wherever there is a fence, just chuck everything over it. And to me, this is the teaching of a colony. This is a teaching of an empire. This is a teaching of an empire gone wrong. This is a teaching of an empire. He's been struck with their indoctrine. A doctrine that has gone completely wrong, from education to politics to religion. Oh my goodness. I'm not making this up, folks. I am not making this up. Your grand ambitions of an empire, and an empire with such a ferocity, trying to introduce and educate to behave in a way. And this is the result of an empire. This is a result of a conquering for resources, conquering for your own selfish needs. It seems, after building a world with ideas, the ideas that the world was built on are simply collapsing all around us. It seems like it's a sinkhole, like everything is piling up in front of our face. The fallen who, in our peace, and look at this, folks. They come here, they sit on this step, smoke I don't know what, drink I don't know what. There's evidence of what they've been smoking, and it's sad to see on a memorial that is designed to commemorate the peace and tranquility and harmony amongst human beings, for our freedom now on earth has been tarnished by individuals coming here to smoke. Is this all human beings are capable of doing to our world and to our nature? Really? Residential. Residential district. No, residential part of London. Ludicrously imbalanced human being, or unbalanced. JD Sports, you've been promoted in the rivers, a whole, including the box of the shoes that you sold to the people, ended up on the canal here in London. And innocent birds like this has been picking on it, I suppose. As you can see, the bottom of that bag, feeding on the plastic and rubbish. Terrible. JD Sports, you ought to either reconsider about the bags that you give out to your customers when you open after lockdown, and what you sell and who you sell to and how you sell, because this is what happens to the nature and to the environment. Who's responsible of this? The consumer or the retailer? It's a great debate to have, and it's something that is causing a tremendous problem for our planet, because we sell without really seeing the consequences once it goes out of the doors of the retailer in the hands of the consumer, who are not educated or responsible enough to use these products or to even have their hands on these products. Is it because how they have been brought up, or is it the only thing they know what to do with something that is useless for them after the shoes come out of the box and the bag? And what is the responsibility of the people who are selling these fruity drinks or sugary drinks to human beings? Is it the chemical reaction causing them to throw the bottle away? JD Sports, please reconsider what you sell and how you sell and how you're packaging and where your packaging end up. What can I say, folks? There's just a construction site just around the corner with cheap labor from Europe and Eastern Europe. And of course, you will find the land right around there or close to it will be littered with rubbish. And this is the result of cheap and great idea about cheap. You want cheap, you will be littered with cheap, wasteful rubbish absolutely everywhere. It's a disgraceful behavior of any kind. I feel absurd to be a human being. If this is the human consciousness that we produce in Great Britain, I guess the Great British model is not going to work. If you're considering climate, considering about conscious living, considering about conscious and responsible human beings, if you want to bring an education of conscious and responsible human beings, let me tell you, the education that you introduce to the Commonwealth and the rest of the world is not working. It is an ugly sight. It is painfully horrendous sight. They had to erect this mesh of a place because they were dumping, I suppose, rubbish on here. Look at this, folks. I mean, it's so obvious that people who does not have a place or home to go to, they sit around the corner of the street, they drink and drink and drink, ingest with absurd and absolute volumes of alcohol. And here we have a result of their ingestion of chemicals, which is, oh my goodness, this is not made up in any way. This is not a mistake. The decorators from East, they come here. I have never seen this. If you walk, you will see this. If you drive and you think you're living in a great country, trust me, your greatness is an utter and despicable and most presumptuous idea of your greatness, pretentious or presumptuous, pretentious idea of your greatness is such, it is terrible. It is terrible beyond words. I don't know how to describe or explain in any way. No matter which borough you're in, you go to a churchyard, it is absolutely painful to see how people treat the places of worship. Look at all this. Why would one wants to do this? What is it that human consciousness is falling apart? A beautiful church, a beautiful place of worship, yet the beauty of the sunset here at Hammersmith, and felt it's a shame for me to actually destroy the beauty of this video image, because what you won't be able to see if somebody else was the case filming this is the amount of rubbish that's been strewn across here onto the Thames. If you look closely, it is painful to look at, but it is absurd, the amount of rubbish, and there's everything in here, absolutely everything. There's the Hammersmith Bridge, and you tell me if this is great. What is great about this is that I tell you, people would come here, sit down, look at the sunset, and just chuck their beer can straight into the Thames, and just to leave you with a painful reminder, the volume of rubbish, the volume of plastics, cans, tins. Look at that. It's not only they created what you call a stack of beer cans, taping it all up, they chuck it in there. What was that about? This is what Great Britain is all about. The River Thames, for you and for the rest of the people to have a look at it in this phenomenally beautiful landscape of the sunset. I'll tell you, so have a look. Everything from anything to everything, absolutely. How is it possible, folks? How is it so possible to do this to these houseboats? And they must be a painful reminder to them as they look out those windows, is that this is what they will see at their doorstep. And this is a Thames Park, and an awful reality of what human beings are capable of, and it's a painful reminder. We are not far from finishing it off for all of us. Things, folks. What interests me is the amount of coffee that human beings drink. Compulsions are stacked up in a bin. It's crazy. Yes, that's what human beings are trained to do. Keep drinking coffee. There you go, folks. Human compulsions, absolutely ridiculous. The coffee Compulsions, compulsions, compulsions. Unable to keep oneself in the most conscious and most considerate way. Coffee cups stacked up in a bin. Ludicrous, ludicrous. For me, I find it extremely sad about losing a job. They've got a great deal ambitious coffee shop to prop it up anywhere on the back of their house or front of their house, the side of their house. Just produce some coffee. Just stack it up, name it, style it in a coffee lounge with some old sofas, and I guarantee you, all of you can find a job easily. For anyone who's drinking coffee, keep the coffee entertainment going.